Hello, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'm here to share with you this card that could be perfect for a Valentine card, which is in a couple days, or it'd be good for an anniversary card too. I just love the greeting in this. And what I'm going to be showing you is how easy it is to line up the stamped image with the die with the Stamparatus. The Stamparatus just makes it so much simpler. So go ahead and get started. This features the Forever Lovely bundle from the Occasions catalog. Here's the stamp set. And these are the dies that stamp the flower. So I stamped this with the petal pink and this with the pear pizzazz. So that's how I got the two color effect with that strip of flowers. And this is also a distinctive stamp set, so it actually stamps those lines and the detail inside at the same time. So you just have to stamp it the one time, which is really cool. And it can be paired up with our lovely flowers edgelets dies. And these are the dies that go along with this. If you purchase them together as a bundle, you save 10%. And the bundle is good through the end of the Occasions catalog, which is June 2nd. After that, if these make it in the annual catalog, the bundle won't. So I just want to let you know, if you want to make sure that you save those 10%, you want to get your bundle now. And this may not make it in the annual catalog. We don't know yet. But what I'm using is this. This is the die that I use to get that intricate flower border. And the neat thing with this die, it also embosses. So these leaves don't actually get cut out. They get embossed into the white cardstock, and you'll see how that works here in a minute. And I use these two dies here for the little detail underneath the greeting. And I'm also using the rectangle stitched framelits. These are framelits that are also in the Occasions catalog. We've been asking for rectangles forever, and these are even better than what we asked for. They've got double stitching. It's really, really neat effect. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. First, you want a piece of Thick Whisper White. It's 11 inches by 4 1/4. And whenever I use my thick cardstock, I want to score it ahead of time. It helps with the fold. So I already had and scored it, and this is at 5 1/2, so that's the halfway point. So go ahead and fold this in half, bring my bone folder in. Now it's ready to be die cut. So I'll bring the big shot in. Make sure you get that in the picture. And I have learned with this thick cardstock, you want to use the precision base plate here at the bottom. This is a metal plate, and it does the intricate dies very, very well. Now the one tip I want to give you, since this doesn't have any give to it, since it's such a hard piece of metal, I keep my old standard cutting pads that are about ready to see how much this has been used. This tends to warp these pads, so I use only my old scratched up ones I was originally going to throw away. I keep these to recycle them and use them for my precision plate. That way it doesn't bother me when it gets warped, because this is an old one anyway. So the sandwich you use is the Big Shot platform. Go ahead and turn this around so you can read it better. Big Shot platform, the thin die adapter that comes with it. Then you put the precision base plate at the bottom. Now I'm going to take my card, I'm going to open it up, because we only want to die cut the front of it. And then I'm going to bring in this die. The leaves on here, I'm wanting those to be in the inner part of the card. So this is how I'm going to lay it down. And originally when I did this, I brought this closer to the edge, and then ended up not having enough room to stamp. Part of the stamped image came off of my original card. So I'm going to move it up just a little bit and get it straight. And the way to tell if it's straight is if this looks straight, the ends look straight. So I'm just going to look at the one that's closest to me. So that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to lay this down on top and run it through. Now with the precision base plate, you have to push really hard sometimes. There we go. And I'm going to do it again. You want that tight. After the first time, it goes in through pretty easy. It's still a little tight. Okay, that should have gotten through with no problem. Oh, it does look like I didn't get quite enough there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. And the die is still in there. If it did move, it's real easy to put it back together again. You just have to make sure the grooves are back in place. The only reason this is taking a little more than usual is because we're using that thick cardstock. See there, now it's cut out perfectly. I can tell it's all done. So go ahead and bring this up, get this out of the way. And while the die is still in there, I'm going to grab my Big Shot brush, which I forgot to get out. And I store the foam piece in one of our wood mat cases. And while the die is still in place, I'm going to lay it down on the foam and use the brush and get all those little pieces out. I think that took them all out. Let's see here. Sometimes there may be a lone one. You need to be real careful because it is real intricate here on the end. There we go. Yep, it did get all the little pieces out. Now I can just put this over to the side. But see how it's got some embossing right here? I just think that is so pretty. Now this looks pretty just like it is, but I wanted that stamped image in there to bring some color to it. So let me show you how to do that with the Stamparatus. I'm going to bring it in. And since it's a photopolymer set that I'm using, I'm going to need the 2 foam platforms here. When you use the rubber, you just do it like this. You don't need the pads. And I'm going to use 2 of them because 2 makes a better impression. I am going to use the grid paper, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick this one in. I'm going to use both plates. Whenever you store this, you don't want to have both plates inserted. So this one goes here, and this just lays on top. If you insert this and lay it down, it doesn't lay flat and it could get broken. So that's why I had to put that in separate. Go ahead and open these up. Now I'm going to make sure the die cut is on the left, and then my inside part is over here. I'm going to put this to the left. Let me grab one of my magnets from the bottom. And I'm going to actually move this over a couple little spaces because I want to make sure sometimes the stamp ends up lining up underneath the cardstock. So I want to make sure I've got enough room for that stamp to lay down flat. So that's why I'm using the grid paper, and just move that over a little bit instead of putting it all the way in the corner. But I do want to line it up on that line just in case it might move on me. Then I know right where to put it back. But it is butted up against the top. So now I'll bring the stamp in. I start with a flowered image. What I'm going to do, actually, I got ahead of myself. We want this to stay folded down. There we go. Now I'm going to take this stamp. Make sure you've got the stamped side on the facing down. And you're going to line it up with the other flowers in that die cut so they line up. Now I'm at an angle, so hopefully I'm getting them lined up pretty good. But look, from here it looks pretty good. So now that it's lined up, I put the plate down, and now the stamp's on there. Now I want to open this up. Make sure it's still lined up on that second line, and then put the magnet back down. I'm going to ink this up with my petal pink. And then just bring it down and stamp it on there. And put pressure all wherever the stamp's at. Perfect. And see, isn't that gorgeous? I love the different, how you can see the lines in it too. Okay, now I'm going to take this out and flip it around because I want to put another stamp on here. And that's going to be the one for this, the green one. So I'm going to lay it down. And you just kind of get some of the leaves lined up with the flower. And you just keep moving around till these images are not on the flower anymore. This takes a little bit of work. There we go. Not too bad. That looks pretty good. So now I'm going to bring this over and pick it up. That's still in place. Now I'm going to ink this one up with my Pear Pizzazz. That's inked up. Put it down and push on it. There we go. Perfect lining. Isn't that? Oh, I love that. Okay, now when we close this up, see how that lines up? Isn't that? It lines up perfectly. So that's the way you do that with the Stamparatus. It helps out a lot because that way you can lay it down while this is closed, the stamp's in place, and then you just open it up and stamp it on there. So that's how that's done. And now I'm going to go ahead, since we've still got the Stamparatus out, I'm going to take a little piece of Whisper White. This is a 2 3/4 by 1 1/4 piece. I'm just going to go ahead and put this one in the corner. I'm going to use my top mat this time and grab my greeting. I'm going to put it kind of in the middle. It doesn't have to be exact because we're going to be die cutting it. And I use the petal pink for the greeting on this one. Go ahead and ink that up. Stamp it Make sure it's got the pressure on the whole thing. That looks good. And you always want to make sure it looks good before you move it, because I could stamp that again if I needed to, and stamp it in the exact same spot. Okay, just out of habit, I'm going to make sure I put this back, because these magnets can break really easy. They're real strong, and I don't want them to break, so I'll put it in the back. Okay, so now this one's ready to die cut, so I'll bring the Big Shot in again. This time I'm going to use the magnetic platform because I want to keep that die in place. There's my standard cutting pad. There's my words, and then I'm going to take the smallest rectangle that's in the big group in here. I'll show you here again. Since they're different groupings, that's the smallest one out of this big grouping is what I'm using. I'm just going to put that in there. Center it pretty good. It just fits. Now the stitching is around here first, so the blade is actually in the middle of that, so it's not going to cut it off. I'll go ahead and put it through a couple times. You really don't need to. Once should be good. Pop that out. There we go. And that shows the double stitching. If I wanted to keep this window, I could have the double stitching around the frame, and then it does the stitching on the actual inside of the label too. Okay, get this out of the way. Now I'm going to attach some vellum here. This is the beautiful vellum from the Floral Romance Specialty Designer paper. I'll put it here on the white cardstock so you can see it better. There are 2 different vellums in this, and then there are 2 sheets of double-sided paper also. And you get 3 of each design. And I just love both of the vellum. This is the petal pink one. And the trick to put vellum on, I use glue dots. Now, right now, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I do put a glue dot in each corner. So I find my first glue dot. There we go. And you want to put it where there's more color. Right here in the corner, there was a little bit of clear, but it's not bad, so I'm not going to worry about it. So now I've got each corner done. And now maybe put a couple little places where I see the pink, just to make sure it stays on well. There's a big pink area, so I'll put one there. That should do it. I didn't put much. Might want to put a couple on this end too. Let's put some here. There's one there. And then one right there. Okay. Now I can put this on the card right here along the edge. Perfect. Those glue dots are hidden wherever the pink is, so that makes it a lot easier. Now I'm going to bring in a 15-inch piece of variegated ribbon. This is a Petal Pink Whisper White variegated ribbon. I just love the petal pink on the edges. It's so pretty. Now it does look like I made this a little too long, so I'm going to bring my paper snips in. I always turn it upside down so I can see where it's hanging over, and then I can cut right along that edge. That makes it nice and straight. Okay. Now we're going to bring this in. I'm going to wrap it around. The reason I'm not doing my regular putting the ribbon ends on the back, I don't want ribbon ends showing over here. This looks a lot nicer if it's like this. So we're going to wrap it around. And I'm just going to tie it in a double knot. I'm not going to do a bow. And this is how I make it go flat. Kind of twist it around so this, there we go. So I've got this. Actually, there we go. Make like a little cross. Then you bring this over and tie it. Just like that. And then here, little trick I do so it doesn't move on me after I've got it on there, because this could slide. Get it straight where you want it. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool, use the pointed end, pick up a glue dot, and put it right underneath the knot. There we go. Now that'll stay in place. And I'm going to take scissors and cut this off at an angle, because I want a nice edge to that. Okay. Now this is going to go on with dimensionals. I'm only going to put one here and here, and you'll understand why here in a minute. A lot of times I will do one in each corner. This is a narrow enough piece. You really don't need that anyway. But you put them there. Take the paper backing off. And I put it right here. Now I could have stopped with just this, but I thought that was just a little too plain. It's just too much white for me. So I die cut some little pieces. These are from scrap pieces of Petal Pink and Pear Pizzazz. So I cut out 2 of these and 2 of these leaves here. And the way I'm going to attach these, I'm going to start with the leaves. I'm going to put a glue dot right here at these bottom 2 leaves, because these are going to be tucked in underneath here, so it doesn't matter if the glue dot's showing a little bit. And since this paper's getting in my way, I'm going to rip this off. Whenever you rip these off, make sure you don't have any glue dots showing, because you want some backing, on top of those so they don't stick to the inside of your box. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up, take that back, grab the leaf, and put it on here, just like so. And then, because it's a little ornate, I am going to use my Take Your Pick tool and pick up the glue dot with it. And then I'm just going to slide it underneath here where I want it. And push it down, just like that. Now these pink ones are a little easier. We've got this nice big circle part here. So I'm just going to put that there. Take that off, stick it inside here. Put it right where I want it. Okay, kind of move that leaf, there we go, bend that leaf a little bit because I want it to stick out a little more. So I'll do that again, except in the bottom left corner. Go ahead and do this. Take it off with my Take Your Pick tool. Actually, this one I'm going to, because the ribbon's there, I don't want to have the pick in the way. Stick that under there. There we go. One more glue dot. To get this on there. Oop, I'm hitting it dimensional so I can move it around a little bit. There we go. Simple as that. But see, that extra color, I think, just makes it pop. I love that. Well, oh, I almost forgot. I did have a little heart here. If you look closely, there's a little heart, and I even dyed it petal pink. So let me show you how to do that. Get these out. I almost forgot to even get these out. I'm going to take my dark Petal Pink marker. It's a Stampin' Blend. You can't use our regular markers. You need to use a Stampin' Blend. I'm going to use the brush tip, and while it's still on the backing, I'm going to color that heart in. It's a little hard to tell. Let me do it over a card. That way you can see how it's starting to color a little bit. I'm going to let it dry for a few seconds. Now, this is going to make it very faint. I wouldn't use the light Petal Pink because I don't think it would show up at all. But after it dries a little bit, then you can add another layer, and that darkens it up a little more. Now I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool. There is a spatula, but I think these work better if I use the paper piercer. So I can pop this off, because they're on there pretty good. And put it right where I want it. And stick it on. There we go. Push it down once it's where you want it. Now it's done. So I think that would be a beautiful card for an anniversary card. And like I said, it can be a good Valentine card too. So I hope you enjoyed today's card. If you'd like to know whenever I post a video to my YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe below. And check out the description below. I've got a lot of links to my blog where you can order Stampin' Up! Product. So if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. And you can just click down there. My blog is www.createwithchristy.com, and you click Shop Now. I've also got a Doily Rewards program I started a few months ago, and you'll find out all about it below. Just look under Doily Rewards and click on that link. And if you participate, you'll earn a $50 shopping spree on me, and I'll even pay the shipping and tax. So make sure you don't miss out on that. I like to reward my customers. I really appreciate all your business. And I've also got links to my Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram pages below also. Well, I hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.